Welcome to Valley Viewpoint. I'm Roger Johnson. My guests are James Kneller and Berna Anderson. Both of them are involved with the Walla University Alumni Association, and James is the president of the association, and Berna is the manager of Havstead Alumni Center. Welcome both of you to Valley Viewpoint.
Thank you.
You know, it's been a long time. I don't believe we've ever had an interview talking about one of the main buildings, but the association, the people behind that wonderful structure. And we'll be talking to Berna, you're as the manager, and Jim, I'll call you Jim.
Absolutely.
You're the president, and maybe I'll just ask how you find yourselves in this responsibility. Maybe trace back some of your history and give us a acquaintance picture of your life.
Sure. So I'm a 1995 graduate from mechanical engineering from Walla University.
Mechanical engineering?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, no, that,
okay.
That was my major. And then after college, I went out east and ended up in medical training. I did a master's of bioengineering at the University of Pittsburgh, and then ended up in Montreal for 10 years for medical school, PhD, internal medicine, and then off to Columbia University in New York City for cardiology. So I got lost out east a long time, and got the remote perspective of being a Walla Walla alumnus, and how you view Walla Walla from 3,000 miles. So I had that experience, and then interestingly, as I finished training, I had very interesting job offers in Washington, and found myself moving back to Washington State, which I never ever thought was going to happen. But now again, I'm in the vicinity of Walla Walla, which makes you eligible for being involved in the Alumni Association. And a friend of mine who I was overlapped with as a student missionary in Australia as a student, Ken Osso, who is now a business executive at Boeing, reached out to me and convinced me to become involved with the Alumni Association. So,
and you're in the Yakima area, and you're doing medicine there.
I'm between Yakima and Tri-Cities. I'm a cardiologist, I'm an electrophysiologist, so I'm busy procedurally, device cases, pacemakers, defibrillators, things of that nature, and then catheter ablation procedures like for atrial fibrillation.
Oh, wow. Well, it's certainly a privilege to have you on Valley Viewpoint today.
Thank you, it's nice to be here.
And Berna, how did you find yourself as the manager of the facility here?
Well, I went to Walla Walla here for 2 years and really enjoyed my time. Family situation, I needed to move back east, and was back there for many, many years. And my dream was to come back and let my girls go to school out here. And that's what we're doing. And they went through WAVA, then they are now at the university. And this opportunity came up, and I just think it's really wonderful because I've been out of the area too, but I always remembered Walla Walla favorably, and it's nice to be back and working with it, the university.
And did you, when you were out east, did you feel the vibrations of Walla Walla from someone like yourself or someone in the association that reached out?
Not at that time, but I had fond memories and remembered and wanted to have my daughter see the opportunity here, and that's why we moved back.
And how did you happen to be chosen? I mean, I take it they had a need and you saw this job opportunity? Yeah.
Well, I have a varied background because in the center, we're really a hospitality center, one part of us. People come and have special events, special birthdays. We have a wedding reception coming up. We do birthdays. We have celebration of life services too. They do everything at that center, and so it's for very special occasions. And so I have a hospitality background, and so that worked. And I also have an IT background, which helps because we're upgrading the systems to be much more automated. And it was just kind of a good fit, and I just thought it was a great opportunity, and I feel very blessed that I have the opportunity to work with them.
And I mentioned the facility. Maybe we should even, for the sake of our local audience that may not be even alumni, maybe they haven't been on Walla Walla University campus. What is the address? How would you tell people how to get to where your office would be?
We are on 4th Street, across from the Shell station. There's a parking lot there, so it's very easy to come in to see us. And we're open mainly Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5, and then on Fridays until 12. But we are open for events 7 days a week. And we are there to service the alumni, their friends, and the community, as well as the university.
How does anybody qualify? In other words, who would be able to have a birthday party there if they were able to? There is a cost. We haven't even talked about that yet. Maybe you could even share that. Do you have to be an alumni to use the facility? Maybe that would be an easy way.
No, you don't.
You don't?
We are available to the community. We also have businesses that come in and have meetings upstairs and training for their employees. But usually somebody hears about us and then they can't believe how nice the facility is and how inexpensive. Because we're there as a service, we really are under market in our pricing. And so they're available. We're on the campus. There's nice parking available. And they come for all kinds of occasions. And it's really kind of fun to work with. We have a more family living room setting for downstairs. We have upstairs is more of a boardroom type setting, but we have a full kitchen up there. So we have events for businesses in the community as well.
Maybe if I could just ask again the phone number for anyone that would like to ask you further questions or even set up a time.
Oh, they can reach us at 527-2241.
Thank you, Berna, for that information about the beautiful facility. Jim, talk to us about how your association as president, what happens? You're president of, talk about what you're president of.
Sure, so I'm president of the Alumni Association, and so you say, what is that? We're an independent organization from the university. We have a separate endowment from the university, and we serve the alumni. How do we do that? We run the Havstead building. The Alumni Association built the Havstead building in its entirety. Later, the Committee of 500 added an elevator, but we bore the total cost. And then recognizing that the building is on university property, we gifted the building to the university, and now we formally lease the building from the university for $1 a year. So it's the symbolic lease arrangement. That's why we're there. So as an alumni association, we have an endowment to serve the alumni. We do that locally through operating Havstead. For any alumni, we'd like Havstead to seem like, you know, a home on campus. When you return, you don't recognize a lot of things, you feel out of place. Where do you start? Come to
right. A lot of changes for sure.
A lot of changes.
Yeah.
Come to Havstead, you know, and we'll start you there and be comfortable there. Then serving the alumni locally, all the events that Havstead offers, the facility that it offers for our alumni to use, is one of our major functions. And then also we represent a liaison between the alumni and also the university to the community. So we have lots of community events at Havstead. So Havstead serves the community, helps the community engage with the university through the use of the Havstead facility.
You have brought a video of some of the special personalities that have represented well the alumni over the years. And would you talk a little bit about the video before we see it here?
Yes. So we have a video that we have developed to tell the story of Havstead for the alumni, because a lot of people don't know the story. So we want to get it out there and in video format so it's modern and crisp and presentable. So we tell the story of Havstead in three minutes, focusing on two founding members of the Alumni Association, and that is Helen Thompson-Zolber and also Walt Meskey. Helen raised the endowment and the funds for the building of the Havstead Center, spawned the idea of Havstead, oversaw its construction. Walt Meskey was integral through all of that. So it's really them telling that story about Havstead and how it came to be, sort of to create that history and to memorialize it and have it there available for all who are interested going forward. And to have our founders tell the story is very important for us.
Well, thank you for bringing that video. We'll see that video here at this time.
The university needed a very nice venue for special occasions, and the community needed to relate more closely with the university.
Well, when I first came to work in the development department here, Helen was in that old house behind the college garage that was ready to fall down.
We were in a meeting with the president and talking about the Alumni Center, and Gene Winter spoke up and said, "Why don't we build an Alumni Center?"
Well, when Helen showed me the plan of what she wanted to raise the money for, she got permission from the president to raise the money for it. I saw the plan, I thought, that's wonderful.
For the alumni to have a project like that for the university, it would draw them together and it would be a good thing, all told. The first thing we had to do was get in touch with the alumni. I did a lot of research to see how the most successful alumni associations were operating, and the funds began to come in. So the building came about, and in 1981 we moved in. We wanted the Alumni Center to serve three constituencies: the alumni, the university, and the community. And one way to do that is to allow them to have events on campus. It's about a building that will do good things for the university. I don't even have to imagine what will happen here. Things are happening here. First of all, the university uses it for their mentoring program. They use it for faculty senate. The board has catered luncheons here. The community uses it for wedding receptions, for various kinds of business meetings, and of course the alumni use it mostly at homecoming. So it's well used by all the constituencies that we hoped would use it.
I think the Alumni Association is a very important group of people. They are people that have had an opportunity to have their education here, and they have now an opportunity to help support the program and to make the college the best that it possibly can be.
President Sorensen, when he hired me to work with alumni, said that alumni are the most valuable asset of the university. They are the ones that spread our reputation as being a good school.
I'm with Berna and I'm with James, and we're talking about the Walla University Alumni Association. That is a marvelous group, and I want to thank you very much for sharing what you did in the first half. And you have an additional video series that's being produced, like we just saw. We just saw Walt Meskey and Helen Zolber, and now you're going to be sharing one of the projects. Talk to us about that, Jim, about
Sure.
The future project.
So we talked about how the Alumni Association serves alumni and community locally. Our challenge then is, what do we do for our alumni who are abroad, miles away, and not on the campus regularly? And an idea that spawned from the original video that we just saw was the idea of the Remember When series. So we are now creating a video archive of interviews of faculty, starting with iconic faculty, but we'd like it to eventually be comprehensive, where for 15-20 minutes, sort of an informal interview, those faculty can talk about their experiences here, what's important to them, why they teach, what was rewarding, as a way to connect with students around the world and across the country. You know, it's online, it's there forever. it's a tribute to these.
Yes, that comes with mixed feelings. Of course, it's on forever. But I mean, I guess in a sense, yeah, I understand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As the decades roll by,
Yeah.
this will be an archive that's always there. So if you didn't know these people, you can go back and look and say, what was this college like? Who are the people who were there? You know, who are the people who are instrumental during those time periods? And really get a sense for who they are, and through them, what it's like to be here and what's important here. So we have been doing that. CM Bell, the same company locally in College Place who produced our original video, has also been doing the Remember When series for us.
Good.
And it's, you know, the service and the insight and the cultural context is just outstanding. So we've been very satisfied with the product. We have about 14 interviews to date on the series, including individual interviews with Helen Zolber and Walt Meske. So aside from you know, just the Havstead building, they get to discuss their larger careers and their contributions here and what was important to them, why they remember and why they can continue to contribute. So that was very special for us to start putting those together, and it's catching fire. You know, nobody needs to donate to this, but certainly certain alumni want to donate to it. The average cost for a video, let's say $4,000. Some are cheaper if you do them in bulk. If you do them individually, it's a little bit more, but let's say roughly $4,000. And we've had people easily send in $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 saying, I'd like to have a video produced of certain faculty who were important to me. And that's exactly what we would like, is our alumni to nominate faculty to be interviewed and sponsor those interviews and help create that archive. And of course, then the sponsoring alum gets their name and the credits to the video. You know, it's very important that this video was sponsored by so-and-so, graduated whatever year and whatever major. So that's been really nice. You know, a little bit nicer, I think, than having your name on a brick somewhere, you know.
Well, that's a wonderfully clear explanation for this Remember When series, and I noticed that you shared with me on the most recent West Winds here, inside
Yes.
one of the articles. You might even open that
Yes.
up. The Remember When series, I'll read the smaller print. Alumni produce video series to preserve the past and inform the future.
Absolutely.
And we're so used to the stills that means so much to us as we look back, you know, 100 years ago to get those still photos that are black and white. But now you're, in a sense, proposing that we do this now with the technology that is currently available to us.
Exactly. So we're taking it to the next level, and what's going to be the standard going forward, and that's video. I mean, stills are very important and very special in their own right because they sort of invoke an imagination, but we need to capture these things on video, and we need to know what happened here at this time. 20, 50 years from now, we need to know what that was. And we as an alumni association have taken it on as one of our major mandates to memorialize those individuals. And we do that as part of our constitutional mandate to preserve the heritage of the university. That's one of our 10 major goals that are in our Constitution and that we are aiming to fulfill through the Remember When project.
I'm just thinking about when you were here on campus, and I'm just thinking of what faculty members changed your lives here, or as you look back, the turning points of as students, just out of interest. Any faculty members that come to mind, like in the engineering building, that you recall?
Well, I'll tell you my story about Walt Meske.
Please.
So I got here, and you know he's famous, iconic person on campus, but you don't know him well.
A building, you were dorming in a building that was already dedicated to his work.
Yes. So I was living in Sydney East, which is the old Conard Hall. It was named Sydney East at the time, and then during my stay there, it was renamed as Meske Hall. Okay. So during my tenure, the dorm got renamed as Meske Hall. And Kurt Nelson in engineering, he was spearheading Engineers Without Borders, and he said, we're going to do a fundraiser, it's a pancake breakfast. He goes, I don't just call it the engineering pancake breakfast. He goes, I want people to show up to the pancake breakfast. I call it the Walt Meske pancake breakfast. And I'm like, wow, that's great. You know, so this is famous, and everyone comes when it's labeled Walt Meske, and Walt Meske just has to show up. You know, so that was very interesting. I graduated from his dorm. And then in 2014, back in Tri-Cities, I met Walt Meske as a patient. So he was having heart rhhythm issues, and was referred to me by his local cardiologist here. And that was my first time really having a sit-down conversation with this iconic Walt Mesky who had lived in sort of my imagination for decades, you know. So that was interesting.
Oh, that's awesome to be able to minister with your technology and your training to one that you had heard about. You know, that's awesome.
So that was cool.
Thank you for that story. And Berna, you've had some as a servant to the association, as manager of the facility. You have had some interesting experiences, haven't you?
We have lots of several people that call in and want to know about the history. They want to find their mothers and their fathers and their brothers and their sisters in the yearbooks. We have a whole set of yearbooks, plus the university has an archive department that I work with closely that helps them navigate through finding all their history. So that's more of the still pictures that they get involved with there. But we also have others that are donated, so if there's a group of people looking for pictures. And it's nice to look back and to remember. And for a lot of their children, they have extra yearbooks or extra things, and they send us notes in and want to look at them. We have a lady that called this week that her mother had done a painting for the university, and she's wondering if it's still there, and if it isn't being used, how they want to have it back. Because it's a very special thing to her and remembering her mother. So there's lots of memorable pieces of the puzzle that mean different things to different people.
I don't believe I've asked you whether you're second generation alumni, or how did you happen to come to this campus?
Second generation.
You are second generation.
Yes.
May I ask about your parents going here, and what was their focus?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
My father is Ralph Kneller. He did a bachelor's and then a master's of biology.
Oh.
And my mom did in elementary education. So both Walla grads.
So you and your siblings, were there siblings?
And my sister, Julie Kneller, finished her Bachelor of Science of Chemistry here and did a Master's of Biology here before going on to graduate school in New Mexico for a PhD in physical chemistry.
Oh.
So she spent more time here than I did, slightly. But I was here for I spent 5 years because I did the student missionary program.
Oh.
It was great.
And where did you serve with the program, student missionary, sir?
I was in Australia.
Really?
And as everyone thinks that's such a hardship, but it was a chance to do modern ministry. It was like ministry in a first world country that you could potentially bring back home those experiences more directly.
Yes, you could.
So for me, it was just a phenomenal experience.
And you say you're second generation, Berna?
Yes, I am. My father graduated from here, and my siblings had graduated from here, and he graduated in music and religion, and was a pastor for many, many years.
Well, as we kind of tie the ribbons on this wonderful round table experience of sharing together about the Alumni Association, first of all, we want to make sure we repeat about how people would get a hold of you to make those wonderful arrangements locally, especially, you know, for the use of the facility. Again, if you'd repeat that number.
Yes, the phone number is 527-2241, and they can also reach me by email, which would be all spelled out, Walla Walla University Alumni @gmail.com.
And again, we're kind of underscoring what we did the first half. This is a facility that is there to serve the community, and all people that would like to use the facility can do that.
Can rent the facility, yeah. And we also do community projects such as Red Cross blood drives and do some charity projects, and are involved in that way as well.
And the location is good, as you say. There's a university parking lot very close to the facility. It's easy to access.
Easy access.
Anything else as you think about your responsibilities as president in the last 30 to 40 seconds?
Well, I'm excited and privileged. Berna is absolutely outstanding. We're very fortunate to have Berna working for the Havstead Alumni Center. www.rememberwhenseries.com, all one word, for those people who'd like to view our faculty interviews.
So that's WWU Remember When
Series.com.
Series.com.
Yes.
For accessing those alumni.
Right,
As
for
a-
the Remember When videos.
Oh.
It's rememberwhenseries.com.
Well,
Exactly.
thank you very much for that.
So we hope the television audience views those and enjoys those as well as our video just about Havstead.
Well, thank you again,
Absolutely.
Jim and Berna, for joining us on Valley View Point.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on Valley View Point. I'm Roger Johnson.